Alright, y'all, let's get into my predictions for the 2025 Grammys. Y'all ready? Let's go.
I came to vibe, you came to function, just do that, baby. Don't worry about nothing, no.
What's good, y'all? It's your boy Bright here, the R&B kid, and I'm back again with another episode of On the Bright Side TV. Welcome back. How y'all doing? Hope you're doing very well. Listen, y'all, I had to hop up on this camera and give you guys my predictions for the 2025 Grammys. I've already given you guys my videos for my nomination predictions back in the fall, and I reacted to the nominations when they dropped back in November. This video is really late, but I wanted to take my time and think about my predictions for this year's Grammys because I really feel like this will be a very landmark Grammys for several reasons. I feel like this is just, I don't want to go into them for, in detail, but I really feel like this is one of the most unique and important Grammys we've had in a long time in terms of the artists nominated, the narratives that are at play, the nominations themselves, the potential wins. There's a lot going on this year, really, when you really look deep into what's going on. So I'm actually really excited to see what happens, but I also really wanted to do my best to be as accurate as I could with the predictions. Obviously, I won't be accurate completely because this is the Grammys and there's always gonna be some weird shit happening like there is every year. But I feel like I have a good feeling as to what will happen in a lot of categories, so I'm hoping I get a lot of things right. But let's see how I do. So as usual, every year, I'll give you guys my thoughts as to who I think will win and who I think should win in each category that I care about, as well as my spoilers and people who I think definitely have a shot to be like dark horses in the category. But before we get into my predictions, I just want to go through my overall quick thoughts on the nominations and who I thought were the biggest shutouts, surprises, snubs, all that really quickly. So for the artists who I think, to me, I want to say were the shutouts, like people who I thought it was like most egregious that they were not nominated anywhere across the board this year. To me, that's Megan Thee Stallion and Doja Cat. I feel like those two artists in particular, I thought they were going to get at least one nomination somewhere. So the fact that they didn't find not one nomination between, the rap categories and Doja for the pop category, especially Megan, I just think it's insane that those two women were not nominated. So I just want to highlight that for y'all. Now going into snubs. So these people that, to me, it wasn't egregious that they were snubbed, but I personally wasn't a fan of the fact that they were snubbed, and I would have found a way to kind of sneak them into some places somewhere if I were in control. So my snubs for this year are definitely Normani, Dua Lipa, and Justin Timberlake. I know those artists I really wasn't expecting to get any nominations. Justin did get nominated for a Better Place in Song Written for Visual Media, but whatever, that's an afterthought in my opinion. But in terms of the main categories, it's a shame that these two artists couldn't pull one nomination somewhere, but I'm not surprised they were snubbed. But it's unfortunate they were snubbed in my opinion. The really whack surprises, thankfully this is the first year in a long time where, as far as I can see, there were no really surprises that happened that I thought were terrible, so that's really good to see. But in terms of nice surprises, surprises I actually really appreciated in terms of artists who actually pulled in a nomination or two or three that I was really not expecting, or I was happy to see, even though I didn't think it was going to happen. And that's Kehlani, who pulled in 3 nominations out of nowhere. I didn't think she was going to get any. Well, she pulled in 3, which is amazing. Duran Bernard on that Progressive R&B Album nomination. I love that for him. Happy that he's finally Grammy nominated. And Rhapsody as well, who I thought would be shut out this year, but she pulled 2 nominations in rap. So I love that for Rhapsody. So those are 3 artists that I love seeing with just surprise nominations. Or I shouldn't say surprise nominations, but nominations that I didn't think were going to happen, but they did. So I was really happy to see that. All right, y'all. So let's get into my predictions for this year's Grammys. I'm excited to see how everything goes down and how I do. And a quick reminder, y'all, if you haven't already, go subscribe and join my Patreon. Link below in the description. On my Patreon, only $3 a month, I'll have all my exclusive content, exclusive videos, like my longer, unedited, uncut reactions and other videos that I won't have on my YouTube channel. They'll be on my Patreon. So definitely go support my Patreon and join the community. Appreciate y'all. All right, y'all. First up is Record of the Year, which I think will be one of the most interesting categories this year because I feel like history is likely to be made with either Billie Eilish winning her 3rd in this category, or a rap song winning for the 2nd time, or the Beatles winning for the 1st time in this category. But I think who will and who should win this category is Not Like Us by Kendrick Lamar. I feel like that's who I think will win, and that's definitely who I think should win. I love this song, and I really feel like, to me, it makes the most sense. I did have Billie Eilish winning this category for a long time, but the more I thought about it, all the pop songs, that are in play this year, Espresso, Birds of a Feather, and so on and so forth, they're all very much equally loved, and I feel like they'll cancel each other out. So it makes sense that I could see Kendrick rising to the top. And in a year like 2024, I feel like Not Like Us is the song more so than any other song in this category that really defines 2024. I feel like Not Like Us defines 2024 in such a profound way, more so than all the other songs in the category, especially the other pop songs I think have a great shot at winning, like Birds of a Feather, Espresso, so on and so forth. So to me, it makes sense that Kendrick will win, and I think he also should win, because I think, it's about time we have another rap song win after This Is America. And This Is America wasn't even really like a rap song, to be honest. It was, but it wasn't. So this to me feels like the first real rap song that will win Record of the Year at the Grammys, and I think it makes sense, and I feel like it's about time, and I feel like it's a really weird song to happen for obvious reasons, but I think a really great song because of the impacts that it had throughout this past year. So I think it makes sense, and I think that's what will happen. If you have a spoiler, I think that'll be Now and Then by the Beatles. It's not what I want to happen, but we have to be real about the fact that there's still very much an old guard at the Grammys that are still active, that are not going to want to pass up the opportunity to award the Beatles General Fields win, which I don't think that they've ever had before. At least they've never won Record of the Year. So, until the end of time, we might never have the opportunity to be able to give the Beatles a General Fields win. So although I think most of us don't want it to happen and don't care about it, I can see it happening in a year where a lot of songs, again, are equally loved, and I can see them all cancel each other out, Not Like Us included, and then the Beatles just kind of comes through and takes it. So we'll see what happens. All right, now we're on Song of the Year, and I think history is likely to be made again in this category by either Billie Eilish or Bruno Mars, and I think also Phineas, winning their third Grammys in this category. And I'm leaning towards Bruno in this scenario because who I think will win this category, that's Bruno Mars and Lady Gaga with Die With A Smile. And that's also who I think should win this category. It's probably my favorite song in this category, and not only is it a personal pick, but I also think, to me, it's the most classic and most deserving song in this category. It's such a beautifully constructed and put together song. The melody is everything. It's sung well. It's written well. It's just a really magnificent song. So to me, I think not only do I think it will win, but I also think it should win. But obviously, there's a good chance it won't win because it wasn't nominated for Record of the Year, which shows a lack of strength in the general field. But I still think it'll eke out this win. But obviously, it's not as strong as some of the other songs and artists in this category that are also nominated for Record of the Year as well. So speaking of my spoiler, I think my spoiler for this category is obviously Birds of a Feather by Billie Eilish. I think that song, After Die With A Smile, is a song that I think makes the most sense as being a really beautifully well-written, magnificent song that really defines this past year, and I feel like she has a great shot at a win. But I think the only thing that's kind of fighting against her is the fact that she's already won this category twice before. She just won it last year. So I think a lot of voters will be hesitant to give it to her for a third time so soon. But, Birds of a Feather was one of the biggest songs of the year, so it would make sense. Her and Phineas are Grammy darlings, so I can definitely see them winning this category. All right, next up is Album of the Year. Obviously, this is the biggest category every year, and this is obviously the most talked about category this year for obvious reasons, but I'm not going to get into the think pieces of it all. I'm not going to talk too long about this one, but I'll just give it to y'all straight. Who I think will and should win this category: Cowboy Carter by Beyonce. I'm not going to go into why. I think it's very obvious why I think so. Look at my past videos. And I will get into my detailed thoughts around her winning or losing this category when it happens in February. But for now, I'll just say my predictions. Who I think will win and who I think should win: Cowboy Carter by Beyonce. And if there were to be a spoiler for me this year, that goes to Rat by Charlie XCX. It's not an album that I love like that, but it really was one of the defining albums of this year. And I feel like we've not had an album that wasn't a pop album win in a long time. Well, we've not had a country album win since Casey Musgraves like 5-6 years ago. We've not had a dance electronic album win in like 10 years since Daft Punk. So I feel like it actually makes sense that this will finally be a year where we have a non-pop album winning. I think all the pop albums will cancel each other out. So if Beyonce were to lose, I think she'll lose to Charli XCX and not Sabrina or Billie or Taylor like a lot of people probably think. I could be wrong, but that's what I'm thinking. So who I think will dominate the category, obviously Beyonce, and I hope that's how it goes. But if she were to lose, I think she'll lose to Brat. Let's see what happens. All right, now we're on Best New Artist, who I think will win this category, and that's Chaperone. But who I think should win is Doechii. So I think Chaperone will win this category. In the mainstream space, the battle is really between her and Sabrina Carpenter. I do think Sabrina Carpenter obviously had a big year in terms of, her numbers and, in the commercial sense and all that, bigger hits, all that. But I think Chaperone has the edge on Sabrina in terms of just artistic vision and potential in the future to have a more iconic and more interesting career. So I think that's what this category is really for, and I think Grammys will recognize that Chaperone, this is a artist that has more potential to really be a legacy act and just have more of an interesting artist in the years to come. So I think Chappell will win this category. But actually, if I had it my way, I would give it to Doechii. I think Doechii has had less output and less, visibility in the mainstream in this past year compared to Chaperone and Sabrina Carpenter. But in my opinion, I think Doechii is the most talented artist in this bunch, and I just think she has the best potential to be the most amazing artist, which is subjective, and I just think she just brings so much uniqueness and talent to this game. And that's who I personally would give it to. But I'll be happy either way this goes, because I love pretty much all the artists involved in this category. And my spoiler for this category is obviously Sabrina Carpenter. I don't think she'll win, but I definitely think if Chaperone were to lose, and because I don't see Doechii taking it out, unless she's like, kind of she pulls a Samara Joy and wins out of nowhere when no one thought she was going to win, but for a deserved person. Unless that happens, I do think Sabrina Carpenter is obviously the next in line for the other mainstream act that would deserve it and definitely has the best narrative to win this category. So let's see what happens. Next up is Best Pop Solo Performance. So for this category, who I think will win, that's Birds of a Feather by Billie Eilish. And that's actually who I think should win as well. A lot of these are lining up for me, but it is what it is. I think Birds of a Feather will and should win this category. If you actually look at history, Billie Eilish usually loses this category, but it ends up winning in the general fields whenever she's nominated for a song that's in general fields in the pop categories. That happened her first year, and I think in the past year as well. So history would tell me that she actually should lose this category and win in the general field. But actually, I'm predicting this year for the opposite to actually happen. So let's see if I'm right about that. But to me, this year, the opposite feels more likely. I feel like she'll lose in general field, but she'll win her first Grammy in this category with Birds of a Feather. And my spoiler for this category is obviously Espresso by Sabrina Carpenter. I feel like she's the other song that a lot of people obviously think it'll go to. I had Espresso winning for a while in this category, but the more I thought about it, I don't think Espresso is as much of a vocal showcase the way Birds of a Feather is, and it's not as much of an emotional showcase the way Birds of a Feather is. So while it's a bop that we all love, and it would be a great win for this category, I just think at the end of the day, Birds of a Feather is, in the long haul, in the long run, when history is said and done, Birds of a Feather, I think, will be the more deserving, and it'll be the win that made more sense for this category this year compared to Espresso. But both songs are amazing, so I'll be cool either way. But I think Birds of a Feather will and should win this category, but if it were to be a spoiler, obviously that's going to be Espresso. All right, now we're on Best Pop Duo/Group Performance. Fun fact for this category, this is actually Beyonce's first nomination in this category, which is so surprising to me, but it's her first nomination. But who I think will win this category, that's obviously Die With A Smile by Lady Gaga and Bruno Mars, and that's who I think should win this category. My favorite song in this category, I think they're going to win Song of the Year, but even if they lose Song of the Year, I definitely think they'll be a lock for this win because they deserve it, they should win it, and I think it will happen. My spoiler for this category, I doubt they'll lose anybody, but if they were to lose to somebody, I think they'll lose to The Boy Is Mine by Ariana Grande, Brandy, and Monica, the remix. I don't think it's likely to happen, but if there were to be a spoiler, to me, that song feels like the most likeliest song to win after Die With A Smile because of the narrative of Brandy and Monica winning another Grammy, their second Grammy together again for really a reinterpretation or reimagining of the same song they won for almost 30 years ago. So that'll be such a beautiful story for the Grammys to share. I doubt it'll happen. The nomination was good enough, but if Die With A Smile were to lose to a song, I see it being Boy Is Mine, but let's see what happens. Next up is Best Pop Dance Recording. I feel like this is easy peasy. I'll be surprised if this goes any other way. Who I think will win and should win this category, that's Yes And by Ariana Grande. Not only is it my favorite song in the category, but to me, obviously makes the most sense. It went #1. And this feels like the most universally appealing and most universally loved song in the category out of all the songs that that were nominated in terms of what made impacts this year. Yes and kind of did come and go, but to me it does make the most sense for this win, and also it's also what I think should win this category as well. My spoiler for this category is Von Dutch by Charlie XCX. Really cute song. I don't think it'll win, but if there were any other song I would see winning over Yes And, I would see being Von Dutch, as Charlie XCX had a great haul of nominations this year, and this can be a place where they easily award her besides the Brat album and Dance Electronic album and potentially album of the year. I think this is a category where they could easily give her a win as well, so I can see it happening, but I do think it'll be yes and. All right, next up is Best Pop Vocal Album. And this is actually the category where I probably spent the most time racking my brain over what to do with it. But I feel good about my decision and what I predicted. I still could be wrong, but I feel good about what I predicted and why I did. So for who I think will and should win this category, that's Short and Sweet by Sabrina Carpenter. She is my personal favorite album in this category, so I'm not trying to be biased, but I actually just think she will win, and I think she should win. My personal favorite album in this category, and to me, it feels like the pop album of the year that hit at the right time, you know, around voting and all that. So to me, I feel like it will and should win. And this is why I feel confident about this prediction, even though it might be a little crazy. Because I think a lot of people, like myself, had probably either Taylor Swift or Billie Eilish predicted for this category, and both of those ladies would make sense for sure. History tells us that Taylor Swift would be a great shoo-in for a win. She's won this category 3 times already. Billie Eilish won this category before. So it makes, and she's probably up for, you know, she's probably close to winning album of the year as well. So it makes sense that she'd be the winner of this category, especially if she was to lose album of the year. But I actually think that Sabrina will win. And I looked at 2 particular Grammy years to kind of back me up on this. For the 2021 Grammys for the 2020 music year, that was the year that Taylor Swift won Album of the Year for Folklore, but Dua Lipa won Pop Vocal Album for Future Nostalgia. So even though a lot of people thought, you know, the same person that would win Pop Album would win Album of the Year, they actually split it, and Dua Lipa won Pop while Taylor Swift won Album of the Year, which actually made a lot of sense. And for the 2022 Grammys, for the 23 Grammys for the 2022 musical year, 2 years later, when Taylor Swift was nominated for, I think it was Evermore. Oh yeah, was it Evermore? Yeah, when Taylor Swift was nominated for Evermore, and when Billie Eilish was also nominated for Happier Than Ever, they were both nominated in Pop Vocal Album and an Album of the Year. Who did they lose to in Pop Vocal Album? Sour by Olivia Rodrigo. That was the album that was more so the new girl that came on the scene that had her big breakout album. If that trend continues this year, who is that person? Sabrina Carpenter. Sabrina Carpenter is the one who had the big breakout year with her big album that really defines this year, in my opinion, in terms of pop music, more so than Billie's album did and Taylor's album did. Billie had a big moment with Birds of a Feather. Taylor Swift is Taylor Swift. But I think in terms of the album that had multiple hit singles and that just had a lot of impact throughout the year as a whole project, that's Sabrina Carpenter, Short and Sweet. So to me, that makes the most sense for who I think will win this category and also who I think should win this category. If there were to be a spoiler, for me, that's obviously Hit Me Hard and Soft by Billie Eilish. To me, I can see Billie winning if Sabrina loses. That is for me who I think would win if Sabrina were to not win this category. I could see Chapel taking it, I could see Taylor taking it, but to me this feels like a battle between Billie Eilish and Sabrina Carpenter. So if Sabrina were to lose, I see her losing to Billie Eilish for Hit Me Hard and Soft, but let's see what happens in this really competitive category. All right, now we're on Best R&B Performance. So who I think will win this category, that's Made For Me, the live on BET version by Money Long. And who I think should win this category is actually Here We Go, Uh-Oh by Coco Jones. I actually really love that song by Coco Jones. I love it so much. Even though Made For Me really is a song that really defines this year in R&B more so, and it's a more beloved and more known song. So that's why I think it will win, and I'll be happy with it because Money Long ate that song down. In my opinion, if I were to give it to someone, I would give it to Coco. I do think Money Long will take this category, but I also worry about the fact that it's a live version that's being nominated. I don't think most people will actually care about that. I think it's just a technicality, and I think most people will be thinking about the original recording of Made For Me when they're voting and all that. But I do wonder if the live version of the song makes it kind of weak in any type of way, so I'm thinking about that, but I still think it'll win this category. To me, it makes the most sense. And I also am worried that Money Long will be snubbed across the board, even though she's the most nominated R&B artist this year. She has nominations in all 4 R&B categories, so I'm hoping she'll win somewhere. I hope she prevails here. I feel like this is the best place. This is the best shot she has for a win. But if it doesn't happen, it is what it is. But I feel like this is the best place for her to catch a win, so I feel like it'll happen here. My spoiler for this category is Residuals by Chris Brown. I feel like if either of those ladies were to lose to anybody, it would definitely be Chris Brown for his amazing song Residuals, which I would love for it to win, but I mean, it did kind of come out and peak at the right time during the fall when voting was happening, but I still think Money Long will win this category in the end, but I could definitely see Chris Brown kind of sneaking up and taking it from her, so we'll see what happens, but that's my spoiler. Next up is Best Traditional R&B Performance, who I think will win this category, and that's Lucky Days, That's You. But who I think should win this category, that's Make Me Forget by Money Long. I love both of these songs down. I do think Lucky Day will take it. He had the bigger song. He had the more impactful song throughout the eligibility year. I think, That's Me. That's Me. That's You to me is it's really the most popular and most beloved song in this category. And it's a really well-made song. So it would deserve the win. And I'll be happy with it. But if I had it my way, I personally think I love Make Me Forget by Money Long just a little bit more. I connect with it just a little bit more. But I love both of these songs. So I'll be happy with either win. My spoiler for this category is definitely Make Me Forget. I feel like this category is Lucky Days to win for sure. I feel like this will be his category. But if he were to lose, I see him losing to Money Long's Make Me Forget. I don't see any of the song taking it, but we'll see what happens. But my spoiler is definitely Money Long's Make Me Forget. But I think this will be that Lucky Days category for sure. Next up is Best R&B Song. To me, this is going to be SZA's category, who I think will and should win this category, and that's SZA with her song Saturn. To me, this feels like an obvious win. She just won this category last year, so I wonder if people will think about that, but I don't think people will care. Saturn is not only the most successful song in this category, but in my opinion, it's also the best song in this category. It's the best written song. It's such a beautifully written, well-intentioned, just really creative record in terms of its lyrics and arrangement. To me, it's the best written song in this category. It's the best record here. Such a good category of amazing records, but to me, I feel like it makes the most sense for the win, and that's also who I think should win as well. I think Saturn should win this category, and I think it will win. It makes the most sense. But if there were to be a spoiler, I see it being Coco Jones for her record, Here We Go, Uh-Oh. I doubt Coco will win either category, but I do think she could be the person to spoil this category if SZA were to lose for any reason, but I doubt that'll happen. But if there were to be a spoiler, it's definitely Coco Jones for Here We Go, Uh-Oh. But to me, I think this is SZA's category to lose. Next up is Best Progressive R&B Album. What I think will win this category, and that's Bando Stone and the New World by Childish Gambino. But who I think should win this category, that's definitely Wild Loud by No Worries. To me, I think if I were to have my way, although I like Childish Gambino's album, there were some tracks I could have done without. Whereas I feel like Wild Loud to me is the most complete album in this category. Actually, my personal favorite is probably Duran Bernard's project, but I feel like to me, I would give the win to No Worries because I just feel like it's the most complete, well-produced, well-made, well-put-together album in this category. Bando Stone, to me, does have some weak moments. So, to me, it's what I think will win. Childish Gambino probably has the biggest name. And I feel like it can be somewhat of a makeup win for his loss for Awaken My Love, which was crazy still all these years later. But, I think that it'll be a redemption for that album, kind of not really win anything besides Redbone. And I think he has the biggest album in the category commercially. So he has the most eyes and ears on him, probably the biggest name in the category. So I think it makes sense. So I think Childish Gambino will win. But if I had it my way, I would give it to Wild Loud. And I also think Wild Loud is my spoiler as well. If Childish were to lose an album, I don't see him losing to anyone else besides No Worries for Wild Loud. To me, that's a spoiler. But we'll see what happens. Next up is Best R&B Album. Similar to Pop Vocal Album, this is another category where I was trying my best to figure out what was happening. I was racking my brain, and I don't even know if I still feel good about my decision, but I'm going to go with it. To me, this year in Best R&B Album, it's a three-way race between three people, and I'm going to bet on Legacy. This year is hard to predict because I feel like, unlike previous years, I feel like wasn't like a definitive R&B album that was really commercially successful and or that really was culturally resonant for the year. I feel like this year was kind of a void of that in an R&B album, at least in this category. Yeah, so I really feel like it was hard to predict, but I'm going to go with Coming Home by Usher for who I think will win this category. To me, I think it makes the most sense. Usher had a great year. He's the biggest name. His album wasn't beloved, but it's serviceable and it's good enough. And it makes the most sense to kind of give Usher the win at this time in his career. He might not ever be nominated or win ever again in this category. It's his first nomination in this category because he always got nominated for Contemporary R&B Album back in the day. So I feel like it makes a lot of sense in terms of the narrative. And they'll probably televise this award and give Usher that moment. So I feel like it'll make sense. But who I think should win, if I had it my way, I would give it to Lucky Day for his album Algorithm. I love Algorithm. It's such an amazingly produced and well put together album. It's just a really amazing. It sounds amazing. It's engineered well. It's amazing, production and vocals, and it's just a really musical, beautiful project that really deserves the win in my opinion. But I think he'll have a hard time going up against the monster that is Usher, the celebrity, But I would give it to Algorithm, which I think is the best album in this category. And right behind Algorithm is Revenge by Money Long. Love you, Money. Great album. And my spoiler for this category is definitely 1111 Deluxe by Chris Brown. Not who I want to win, but I can definitely see Chris Brown getting that moment. His album had good singles. He's Chris Brown. He's not really won this category. He's not won a Grammy in a long time. And the last Grammy he won was for this category more than a decade ago. So I could see him winning this category over Usher, but I don't see it happening, but it could. So he's my spoiler for this category. Next up is Best Rap Performance. Who I think will win this category, and that's Kendrick Lamar's Not Like Us. But what I think should win this category, and that's Nissan Altima by Doechii. I love both of these songs. To me, they're two of the best songs in the category. I think it's obvious that Kendrick will win for Not Like Us. I think he'll win Record of the Year, and he'll deserve this win. I'll be happy when he wins it. I see him being definitely the front runner for this category. But if I had it my way, my personal pick would be Doechii's Nissan Altima. I just feel like that flow on Nissan Altima that Doechii was getting off is insane. She was rapping her ass off. It's just a great record that I never get tired of hearing. That insane beat by Childish Major. It's just a really great record, and to me, more so than Not Like Us, an amazing showcase of a rap performance. To me, it's the best, rap performance, actual performance in the category. I feel like she snapped. So I would give it to Doechii, but I think it'll obviously go to Kendrick for Not Like Us, and that's fine. I'll be happy with that. He deserves it, and it'll be a great win regardless. My spoiler for this category is Yeah Glow by Glorilla. I don't see Kendrick losing to anybody, but if he were to lose this category, I don't see it being Doechii. It could be Doechii, but I see it actually being more so Glorilla for Yeah Glow. To me, the other really amazing song, one of the amazing rap songs that we defined 2024 is definitely Yeah Glow by Glorilla, and I think it'll be deserved for sure. So next up is Best Melodic Rap Performance. So what I think will win this category, that's We Still Don't Trust You by Metro Boomin, Future, and The Weeknd. But who I think should win this category, that's Beyonce, Shaboozey, and Linda Martell for Spaghetti. I know a lot of people don't like Spaghetti like that. I get it. But in my opinion, I love Spaghetti. I think it's an amazing record. And in my opinion, it's the song that to me feels most deserving of this win out of the 5 songs here in this category. But I think, Future, Metro Boomin, and The Weeknd will take this win for We Still Don't Trust You, which is a really cool song. I like it a lot. I love the production. I love the vibe on it. I won't be mad when I think it'll win, but to me, it's not what I would give, but I see it being the song that makes the most sense for the win. I think Future and Metro Boomin will have a great year, and I think this will be one of the categories where they'll prevail for a win. It makes a lot of sense for them to win it, and also because the Grammys probably don't want to miss an opportunity to give The Weeknd a Grammy ever since he's committed to never submitting his own work. So it makes a lot of sense as well. So I could be wrong, but that's what I think will win, even though I think Spaghetti would be what I would give it to. And my spoiler for this category is 3 AM by Rhapsody and Erykah Badu. To me, I definitely can see this being a category where they kind of, give us a surprise win and give it to Rhapsody and Erykah Badu, two deserving legends for a really great collaboration, a really great song that definitely went under the radar. And it's probably the least known song in the category, but it's a great one. So it's my spoiler, but we'll see what happens. Next up is Best Rap Song. To me, another really easy category. What I think will and should win this category, and that's Not Like Us by Kendrick Lamar. I think he's winning Record of the Year. I think he's going to just have a really big haul at the Grammys with Not Like Us this year, which will be so funny and crazy to see, but I think it's going to happen, obviously. So I think this is Kendrick's category to lose. I think he will win, and I also think he should win this category. To me, Not Like Us, it's really the best written song in this category. It's the best arranged song. It's just a really great showcase and just getting out a story, putting it on wax, and just performing it well. And I think it'll win as well. It makes the most sense for the win. It's the biggest song in the category. But if there were to be a spoiler for this category, I see it again being Yeah Glow by Glorilla. For same thing I said in rap performance. To me, she had one of the other defining songs of this year besides Not Like Us in the rap world, and I think it would be a deserved win. Yeah Glow is a really classic record that was just written and arranged so well. It really feels like a new classic record, so I feel like it would definitely deserve the win for sure. And I think it's the only other song in the category I think has the best shot at overtaking Kendrick. But again, I think this is Kendrick's category. This is his category to lose, so we'll see what happens. Now we're on to Best Rap Album. So for Best Rap Album, the album that I think will win this category, that's We Don't Trust You by Future and Metro Boomin. But what I think should win this category, and that's The Auditorium Volume 1 by Common and Pete Rock. To me, The Auditorium Volume 1 is the most special album in this category. To me, it feels like the most classic, bare bones, definition of what a rap album is. Just amazing production with soul samples, just great beats. Amazing rapping by Common throughout, just a really well-made project by two legends doing what they do best. To me, The Auditorium, is the album that deserves this win the most. But I think, obviously, We Don't Trust You by Future Metro Boomin will win. It's the album that really defines more so of today's culture. It defines the year more so than any of the albums in this category. Future Metro Boomin had a great year. And I wasn't really the biggest fan of that album as a whole. I like that album, but I don't give it as much as y'all give it. But obviously the culture loves that album this year, so I think it'll be the winner of this category, and that's fine. It's not what I would pick, but it is what it is. That's what I'm predicting for the win. But we'll see what happens. But my spoiler for this category is Doechie's Alligator Bites Never Heal. At first it was going to be Eminem, but the more I thought about it, if for some reason, We Don't Trust You were to lose, I don't think losing to Auditorium, it could. I think Doechie's album could actually be the spoiler, and that'll be weird because this is her first nomination, her first year at the Grammys, so it's really not likely to happen. But if there were to be a crazy thing to happen, I could see Doechii being the second female winner of this category after Cardi B for this project. It's not even a debut, it's not even an album, it's a mixtape, it's not even her debut album. But this project is so good that I could see taking the win for this category. But I still think this is Metro Boomin and Future's category to lose. I think they're going to run this category. But if anybody were to, sneak up on them, I could see it being Doechii. Although I personally think the Auditorium Volume 1 should be taking this category. But let's see what happens. I'm excited. Next up is Best African Music Performance. I'm actually really excited to see what happens in this category. To me, this is a battle between Sensational and Love Me Jeje. I love both of these songs, so let's get into it. What I think will win this category, and that's Sensational by Chris Brown, Davido, and Lil J. But what I think should win this category, that's Love Me Jeje by Tems. I love Me Jeje so much. That's one of my favorite songs that came out last year. It dropped on my birthday. I just love that song. It's one of my favorite songs, not only by Tems, but also one of my favorite songs that dropped in the world last year. Such a addictive song that I never get tired of hearing with that melody, that beat, her vocal. It's just such a hypnotic, beautiful record that's just amazing to listen to. It's a bop. So in my opinion, I would give it the win. And I actually had it winning for a long time, and I hope it does. But for some reason, I just thought recently, you know what? I just think at the end of the day, I think the world, more so the world, heard and appreciated Sensational, and it performed better on the charts throughout the year, more so than Love Me Jeje. So even though Chris Brown is not an African artist, he can slide on an Afrobeat record, and you still have Davido and Lil J winning, which Davido's a legend in his own regard. Lil J's a new artist, but he can come along for the win. Hopefully, he'll have a great feature in the game as well. So even though I want Tems to win, I do think Sensational will take this out because I think it was the overall bigger song in the year. So I think it's more popular with more people. So I think it'll win, but I will give it to Love Me Jeje. And my spoiler for this category is obviously Love Me Jeje by Tems, because I think if Sensational were to lose, it'll lose to this song. I couldn't see any of the song taking it. Maybe someone else could take it, but I feel like this is a battle between Love Me Jeje and Sensational. So if Sensational to lose, it'll lose to Love Me Jeje, which I hope happens, but I'm not going to predict it. But let's see what happens. Next up, we have Best Music Video. So what I think will win this category, and that's Fortnite by Taylor Swift and Post Malone. But who I think should win this category, and that's A$AP Rocky for his video Taylor Swift, which is so funny because I think he'll lose to Taylor Swift. But yeah, man, that A$AP Rocky video was insane. If you've not seen it, do yourself a favor and go on YouTube right now and go watch Taylor Swift by A$AP Rocky. That video is freaking insane and deserves the win for this category. It's a crazy good video. But unfortunately, I know the Grammys not going to want to resist the opportunity to give Taylor Swift something in a year where I think she's likely to miss all of her nominations this year. But I know the Grammys are going to want to give her something. So I feel like it makes sense that this is the place where they can give her a Grammy so her fans can say she got something. And Post Malone is also number one in Grammy. So I'm pretty sure the Academy wants to give him something because he's like he's a current year legend that doesn't technically have a Grammy yet, even though you think he would have by now. So this is another way to just give him a Grammy, even though it's not really for like his song or something that like he did. It's just a music video win, but it's still a Grammy regardless. So I think the Grammys won't want to pass up the opportunity to easily award Taylor Swift and Post Malone something for this year, and this is where they can do it. But if I had it my way, I would give it to A$AP Rocky for his video, Taylor Swift, an amazing video. But if there were to be a spoiler for this category, I see it being Not Like Us by Kendrick Lamar. Speaking of Taylor Swift, they won this category together years ago for Bad Blood. But I do think if Taylor were to lose, I see her losing to Not Like Us by Kendrick Lamar. Another landmark video that really defines 2024 and was one of the most memorable and beloved and best videos of the year. But the Grammys aren't always friendly to giving rap videos, music video wins. So I don't think it'll happen. That's why I think it's more so going to be Taylor Swift and Post Malone taking it. But if it were to happen, I would see it being for Kendrick's song more so than A$AP Rocky's song. Although A$AP had the best video. So let's see what happens. All right, now let me breeze through the country categories because I actually think I have a good pulse on what happened in the country categories this year for obvious reasons. Because there are black artists all up and through it this year. Amen. And I think they're gonna dominate. Hello. So let's get into it. First up is Best Country Solo Performance. So for Country Solo Performance, who I think will win this category. That's Shabuzi with Abara's song Tipsy. I think it makes the most sense. This man went #1 on the Billboard Hot 100 for 19 weeks last year. Had the biggest song in the world pretty much last year, a song that really defined 2024. So I think he will win this category. But who I think should win this category is 16 Carriages by Beyonce. 16 Carriages is such a beautiful record. To me, one of the highlights and the standouts on Cowboy Carter. One of the most beautiful songs that came out last year. It really came and went for the Beehive and for fans all around the world. It came and went, which is a shame. I get why it's a ballad. It wasn't really like pushed as a single, more so than Texas Hold'em. But that song is so beautiful in my opinion. I'm glad she submitted it to this category. And I would give it the win because it's the best performance in this category in my opinion. But obviously Shabuzi will win and that's fine because he deserves it for a great record. And if there were to be a spoiler for this category, the spoiler in my opinion is I Am Not Okay by Jelly Roll. I think Jelly Roll's I'm Not Okay to makes a lot of sense as being the only other song I could see winning with this narrative. If for some reason Beyonce and Shabuzi were to both lose, I see them losing to Jelly Roll, but I doubt that'll happen. But if there were to be a spoiler, it's Jelly Roll. And now for Best Country Duo/Group Performance. This is also another category where I'm like nervous, but let's see what happens. So who I think will and should win this category, and that's Beyonce and Miley Cyrus for Two Most Wanted. I think Two Most Wanted will win, and I think it should win. To me, it's my favorite song in this category. It's the best song in this category. To me, it's the most classic and iconic and timeless and well-made song in the category. So not only do I think it should win, but I also think it will win when you think of narrative. I think Beyonce will have a great year, and I don't think a lot of voters are going to want to pass up the opportunity to give Beyonce and Miley a Grammy together for a really great song. So, and one of the highlights off of her album. So why not? But obviously the spoiler for this category and a huge threat to Two Most Wanted's win is I Had Some Help by Post Malone and Morgan Wallen, which is it's a cool song. It's a great melody. One of the biggest songs of last year. It was like 6 weeks at #1. So it definitely is the bigger and more popular song for the world compared to Two Most Wanted. So I definitely think it's definitely my spoiler. And I think it has a great shot for the win. And I actually thought I had it winning for a long time and it still could. But I'm going to actually feel like the Grammys are going to go in the direction of being the Grammys for this category and give it to the song that actually was the best song and not just the hit in this category. So a lot of times they go with the most popular song, but this is one of the rare instances where I think they actually will go with the best song, even though they could easily give this category to Post Malone and Morgan Wallen. I think they will, and I think they should give it to Beyonce and Miley Cyrus, but let's see what happens. Now for Best Country Song, I think this is a pretty easy category. Let's see what happens. What I think will win this category, and that's Texas Hold'em by Beyonce. But what I think should win this category is actually The Architect by Casey Musgraves. So Texas Hold'em, to me, it's nominated in Record and Song of the Year. So I feel like, even though Shabuzi's here, I do think they'll want to give Beyonce something for Texas Hold'em, so I think she'll win this category, and I think it'll make a lot of sense because I think this is a better written song than a bar song Tipsy. So I think Beyonce will win this category. But if I had it my way, even though I love Texas Hold'em, I actually think The Architect by Casey Musgraves should win this category because I love Casey Musgraves, and The Architect is a really well-written song, a really beautiful song, a deep song that is so creative and really well-written about just like, the world and like, our existential nature and like our existence and like, why everything is the way it is. And like, it's a really beautiful, deep song that is so classic and really well written and really profound and really get you to think and feel. So I would give it the win. I think it's the most beautiful and deserving song in this category, but I definitely think this win will go to Beyonce. And obviously, my spoiler for this category is Shaboozey's A Bar song Tipsy. If Beyonce were to lose, I see her losing to Shaboozey, which is fine, because Shaboozey, in my opinion, didn't have the better song compared to Texas Hold'em, but he has the biggest song in this category. So he definitely is a dark horse for the win if Beyonce were to lose it. So let's see what happens. And the last country category we have is Best Country Album. So I think this is pretty easy. Obviously, if you heard what I said in Album of the Year, what I think will and should win this category is Cowboy Carter by Beyonce. In my opinion, I've not heard every single album in this category. I've only heard Post Malone and the Casey Musgraves album. I've not heard the Chris Stapleton album or the Lainey Wilson album. So I've only heard 3 out of the 5. I really do like Post Malone's album and Casey Musgraves' album a lot. But obviously, I think Cowboy Carter to me just leaps and bounds ahead of both of those albums, at least in terms of just the importance of the album, the musicality, the risk it took, the production, the songwriting, the concept, the execution. It's just a really, I can't say enough about Cowboy Carter, right? I'm not gonna go into it now, but I'll just say that's what I think will, and that's what I think should win Best Country Album. Not only because I'm black and because I love Beyonce, but objectively, I really do think it was the best album in the category that I've heard. So that's my vote for what I think should win. And also, it's also what I think will win, because I think she'll win Album of the Year. So why not her album category? And if there were to be a spoiler for this category, to me, the only album that I think threatens Beyonce, in my opinion, is Deeper Well by Casey Musgraves. I could be wrong. All these albums are strong. Post Malone's strong. Lainey Wilson just won this category, last year? And Chris Stapleton is Chris Stapleton in the country world. Hello. But for some reason, I feel like if Beyonce were to lose, I see it being to Casey Musgraves, who I think honestly was probably the closest in line for an Album of the Year nomination, besides Beyonce for the country vote. So that's who I think could spoil. But I definitely think this is Beyonce category to lose for good reason and for obvious reasons. We'll see what happens. I don't see her losing, but I think this would be Beyonce's to take away, but if she were to lose, I see it being to Casey Musgraves. But let's see what happens. All right, to end the video off, I'm just going to quickly breeze through Producer and Songwriter of the Year, which are categories that most people don't really care about, but I do because I care about the crafts. So for people that care at the end, this is for y'all. For Producer of the Year, who I think will and should win this category is D-Mile. I just feel like this will finally be the year he'll prevail. This is not actually D-Mile's strongest year for the win, in my opinion. I think the strongest year he had for a win, I think actually was last year when he was nominated for Victoria Monet's album. I think that actually might have been his strongest year, or maybe the year before, I can't remember. But he did produce the Algorithm album, which was a really well-produced album. And he has Down with a Smile and That's You by Lucky Day, which I think will both win Grammys. So I just do think that he has enough going on this year that I think D-Mile will finally prevail in this category. And he should take, in my opinion, because, obviously I'm biased. I love D-Mile, I love R&B, so I want him to win at it. But I think he actually will win. But if there were to be a spoiler for Producer of the Year, I think it's obviously Dan Agro. I think Dan Agro, if besides D-Mile, has the best shot at a win. Producing for Olivia Rodrigo and Chaperone. They're pretty much the main artists, he submitted for this year. And, Chaperone had an amazing year with her album. And Olivia had a quieter year, but he still submitted, the music he did for her Guts Deluxe this year. So I think Dan Agro actually might win, to be honest. But hopefully D-Mile prevails, but if he were to lose, I see it being to Dan Agro. And lastly, Songwriter of the Year. I think this will be a pretty easy year. Who I think will and should win this category. As much as I love Ray, I'm going to be honest, I think that person is Amy Allen, who pretty much produced all of Sabrina Carpenter's hits this year. So every Sabrina Carpenter hit that we love this year, Espresso, Please, 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 Taste, all have Amy Allen's DNA all throughout it. Amy Allen was a secret sauce behind Sabrina Carpenter's Short and Sweet album. So I think she'll be recognized for just having a really good breakout year. Not a breakout year, but a really good year with her. And just all the other, songs she had in contention for her this year. I think Amy Allen will be the clear winner for this category. And she deserves it. She's an amazing songwriter. And I think, I think this will be a great win for her. She's been working for years, but she had a really great year last year. So I think she should win it. And I think she will win it. But if there were to be a spoiler for Songwriter of the Year, I see it being my girl Ray, which would be amazing to see. I don't think Ray's strong for the win, but in my opinion, if Amy Allen were to lose anybody, I think that would and should be Ray. So I think Ray had an amazing year as well. I'm rooting for her. I would love for Ray to win, but I don't think she'll beat Amy Allen, but would love for it to happen. So let's see what happens to Songwriter of the Year. All right, y'all. So those are my predictions for the 2025 Grammys. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know what y'all think about the predictions down below. Let me know what are your predictions, who you're rooting for, who do you think will win each category that you care about, including the ones I talked about. Let me know your predictions for other categories that I didn't talk about in other fields. You know, in the dance categories, in the jazz categories, in the gospel and Christian categories, in the rock and alternative categories, other folk, bluegrass, whatever. Other categories that I'm not as invested in or that I'm not as researched in that you want to talk about, you know, let me know your predictions down below. I'd love to hear them, and let me know who you guys will think will win Grammys in February. So yeah, I appreciate it, y'all. So yeah, man, that's the end of the video. Like I said, let me know what y'all think about my predictions and give me yours. I appreciate y'all. And if you haven't already, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, okay? Thank you. But all right, y'all, this has been your boy Bright, the R&B Kid. Thank y'all for watching. But for now, I'm signing off, baby. Bye, y'all. Peace.
I came to vibe, you came to function, just do that, baby. Don't worry about nothing, no, 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 no. I came to vibe, you came to function, just do that, baby. Don't worry about nothing, no, no, no. Relax just a little bit, you don't gotta worry, you can just